Today on the show, we are joined by Jeremy Laura, the Red Wings report by Strings and Puck to discuss prospects, goalies, and the collapse of the Red Wings.
Welcome to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast.
Welcome back to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. We are a podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network, and we are sponsored by DraftKings. I'm one of your hosts, Connor.
And I am your other host, Kyle. We're a show by fans for fans. We are not officially partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins or Detroit Red Wings. We do this for fun. We Grand Rapids Griffins as sometimes they get overshadowed by the Red Wings, but it's that time of the year where the Griffins have made the playoffs, and unfortunately the Red Wings have not. So it's a great time for everyone's attention to shift over to Grand Rapids.
So that being said, the Grand Rapids Griffins are in the playoffs, and the matchup has been decided. The Manitoba Moose have eliminated the Milwaukee Admirals in a best 2 out of 3 matchup, taking it in Game 3. Milwaukee trying to come back and win it in the end, but Milwaukee proceeds. Great goaltending play. Cool matchup on the way. And that being said, the games will start in Manitoba. Game 1 and Game 2, it'll be a Sunday and Saturday matchup on May 2nd and May 3rd, both games starting at 3 p.m. So that'll be cool. And then the following week, starting on a Wednesday, the first game for the Griffins will be Game 3, Wednesday, May 8th versus the Manitoba Moose at 7 p.m. if needed. Friday, Game 4 on May 8th at 7 p.m. And then Game 5 if needed. That would be the final game. Saturday, May 9th versus Manitoba at 7 p.m. So
exciting. Got the playoff schedule lined up for Van Andel Arena, so I'm sure everyone's going to be getting their tickets for that Wednesday game. And Manitoba, fairly favorable matchup, someone we've done well against all season long here. So, yeah, it'll come down to this. Get your venison burgers ready.
I have a ticket giveaway too for that game. We're giving away 2 tickets to a Griffins playoff game on that Wednesday game. So we'll have that on our Facebook and our Twitter and our social medias. So go check that out and enter in that.
Yeah, so in other words, we'll get into our interview with Jeremy Laura, someone who was a great discussion with. Found we were a little interested in more than just hockey. Found out we were interested in guitars too. So we'll get into our DraftKings ad, and then we'll get into our interview with Jeremy Laura.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. Bet player props, bet live, from opening faceoff to the final horn. Every moment matters. New DraftKings customers, bet just $5, and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. And not only the Stanley Cup, but don't forget about the Calder Cup playoffs too. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
Now we're going to get into our interview with Jeremy Laura. So we have Jeremy Laura here from Red Wings Report by Strings and Pucks. How you doing, man?
Doing really good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
So we want to talk to you, get this thing started. You do the Red Wings Report by Strings and Puck. So tell us about your show. Who are you? What do you do? All those good things. What got you started in the Red Wings in hockey?
Absolutely. So in 2019, there was an opening on the blog Hockey Buzz. The Red Wings writer, he ended up stepping down, and I'd been doing fan posts in the blog section. So the site admin got a hold of me and really liked my writing. So right before Steve Yzerman was hired, I started writing the Red Wings blog for Hockey Buzz. And I did that up until 2025. Last year, I switched over to a site called Hockey Hot Stove, and I've been the Red Wings writer there. Now I'm going to take a break from the writing side, but last year it occurred to me I had a YouTube channel. I'm a hockey enthusiast. I started just making videos as kind of like supplementary to my writing, just to see if I could reach different people by having like a visual version of what I was doing when I blogged. And last July, I split because I'm all about guitars and hockey. That's where the name Strings and Pucks came from.
Awesome. Me and Kyle also are very, very, very into guitars.
Love strings.
Went to college for building guitars. Just a huge music guy.
And how insanely rare is that? We did not know that about each other when you guys reached out. Had no idea. So that's really funny.
I saw the Strings and Puck name and I liked the intro music. I was like, that's really cool, but I didn't know like you played yourself and everything. That's really cool because that's like my passion is playing guitar.
Yep.
Yeah, and I write
Jam.
that's all original music that I do that I just recorded on like my tablet. So all the stuff that's on the channel is like guitar instrumentals that I put together for the goal reels and stuff.
Hey, that's awesome because it saves you time too, because then you don't have to source anything or say thanks for your music. It's all you.
No, I only take copyright hits on the Wings stuff because you can't post NHL clips. Like you can't post even a 30-second highlight clip without the NHL striking your channel anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
AHL, I can do a 4-minute goal reel and they leave me alone. So I love it.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing. And last July, I split my channel in two. I have a guitar channel where I do all my music stuff. And then the Red Wings Report is all my hockey stuff. Last July, I had 60 subs and I've got just over 1,700 now. And over 1,000 of those subs came when the Griffins started setting records. Anytime I do a Griffin post, and I wasn't originally going to cover them, I was just covering the Wings, but there's so many gaps in the season and the Griffins were so good. So I started adding that content in and people were so passionate about the Griffins, completely different set of fans, honestly. And now Wings fans are coming over and the channel in less than a year is almost at 1,800 subs. Just shocked.
That's an impressive rise there. So
Lucky.
The Griffins are kind of a hot topic for sure right now. And just kind of drawing attention from across the nation. I think you mentioned yourself that Sports Illustrated was covering them. And I mean, we have some very high rated players, I think 4 different first round picks here in Grand Rapids. So the Detroit Red Wings the fans obviously have their eyes on the Griffins as a development place for their future stars, but the rest of the world right now is watching Grand Rapids as this team has exploded.
It's honestly, and if I'm going to be very frank about it, my wife and I we'd go to a Red Wings game, and then sometimes we'd take the trek to go to a Griffins game. And at the end of a Griffins game, we're like, why does that feel more like the hockey we grew up loving in the 90s? NHL, love it. You can't underestimate it. But you have to pay $300 right now for 2 people to go to an NHL game. Literally. And I'm not trying to sound crass or anything. That's reality. You go to a Griffins game, you go out $50-$60. You've got great seats. You're probably getting hot dogs shot at you. Pizza's being dropped from the ceiling. But the game is so much more like the hockey I grew up watching. Sometimes
more aggressive, more hits, more fights.
Oh,
more just grindstone hockey.
It is, and it's so fan friendly. Like you can see the players walking around after a game, and it's just I don't know what it is. The environment at Van Andel, they've had this sellout record. It always seems like it's jumping. It could be kids' night or it could be $2 beer night, and both are going to be packed.
Yep. No, it's been great in the last couple of years, and the amount of talent that we have here coming through, the price you pay to see this top grade talent, it might be a little more in a raw form, but I feel like that provides a little more excitement. I just feel like there's always something to talk about every game with, like, oh, maybe it's this kid's debut, or we signed this guy on a professional contract. The goaltender from Toledo's up today. Whatever it is, there's always something interesting to talk about in the game, and I feel like there's just a little more variety in these AHL matchups. And for the price you pay, yeah, you can't beat it.
And also, you get to like see the development not only of the player, but like personally, like. I mean, you get as a season ticket member, you get to go to like a lot of events where the players are. There's like the Great Skate. There's Dying a Player at Pepino's. There's all these different events that Grand Rapids hosts that you get like really close to these first round picks, and like you get to like watch like Nate Danielson. The first couple times I talked to that guy, he was really shy and he didn't really want to talk that much. And at the end, near the end, he's a lot more talkative. It's like they start to recognize you almost a little more because you've seen them 10 times over events. But it's fun.
Well, and that's the other thing. You can be a regular, normal, everyday person and be a season ticket holder for the Griffins.
Yep.
And that's just not available at the pro sports level. Most people are splitting season ticket packages. And then if you last minute want to go to a game and you're not a season ticket holder, the odds of finding a $20 tickets, like if an afternoon game comes, you can probably still find a decent price on a resell. Like if somebody can't make the game, like you're still not going to go broke going to these games. But yeah, they are selling out like crazy right now. But it's always such a good time. And the environment's just so different. You're just there to be a fan, and the fans, some of them are nuts. The dance cam kind of freaks me out. But,
the emoji cam.
Oh my gosh. But
Yeah.
It's such a great environment. And then the hockey, what really shocked me is when they waived Gustafson and Hall this year. You're
that blew our minds.
Right. But when they got there, what I'm hearing back, and I'm on this side of the state, you guys are right there. It's such a good environment. They genuinely love being there, even though, you want to be in the NHL. And I think Sandin Pellikka, when he was sent down, you saw the look on his face when he first got there. You could tell he was stressed.
Yeah. He didn't
but
want to
then
be
it
there
came
right away.
in, when he scored that first goal, the look on his face, you're like,
Yeah.
and then he had some spring
When
in
he
his
fell.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
But it was like the energy is so positive. Dan Watson runs such a good room, and
Yeah.
I think the guys that get down there then get it, because mentally these kids think of the AHL as a demotion. They don't realize how hard the hockey is to play there. They think, I want to go to the NHL. It's NHL or nothing. And we hear guys say that. It's very real and it's very difficult. It's so hard.
Look at the experience that Axel Sandin Pellikka and Michael Branson Nygaard are going to get this year. I mean, we got like this stacked roster, and we're looking at a possibly deep run in the playoffs if we can play our cards right. And that's more valuable than almost any experience you can get almost anywhere else, unless it's the NHL playoffs.
Yep.
I agree. And this group, I feel so good about. Like 2 years ago, I was really bummed when Milwaukee bounced them because I was looking at that group. But this year, Anton Johansson came back over. He and Shai Boyum, very, very physical pairing when they put them together. And Johansson's now starting to get in more of a nose for the net. He had a real nice net
scoring.
Yeah, he got his second goal. He's only played 7 games. He has 6 points in 7 games, somewhere around there.
Yep.
He changed so much this last year in Sweden, and I already liked him as a player. But it's so deep. They just got 4 guys back from Detroit. Shine's back. You'll talk about their record with him. They almost don't lose when Dominic Shine is in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's actually 35-2, 2-0 when he's there.
Yeah, and 16, 13, 2-1 without, which, I mean, that's just crazy to me how much of a difference there is there. I mean, that's almost a 50% record without Dominic Shine.
You're right. And they were really struggling when they lost. And Dan Watson talked about the room, because at one point Leonard was called up, Shine was called up, Major was called up. They saw all their top 4 scorers out of the lineup all at once. But more than that, it was the room was so different without those guys. Even Sheldon Dries had a stint, and he's a really powerful leader on the team as well. So they had to adjust without those guys. Those young guys learned some tough lessons when the leaders were called up to Detroit.
Yeah, and we were embraced with ECHLers from Kansas City and Fort Wayne, and we got the Toledo legend Brad Hawkins up here for a game. And I mean, it was interesting. There was a period where Dan Watson had to dial up some coaching to get the right guys in to kind of fill the gaps and make something happen. Because, yeah, I would 100% give Dan Watson a lot of the credit here as the season's rolled along, and just the culture. And as you said, brought the veterans in to coach the kids and brought the kids in to make an impact on the ice the way they're supposed to. And it's been a well-oiled and run machine all season long. And, yeah, even when it's low on gas, it's still driving fast.
I love that. The other thing I really admired about Watson is their rotation, because you can only have so many veterans on the ice. They never altered their rotation, even when John Leonard had 20 goals in 20 games. When it was his turn to sit out a game, I mean, how many people iced the top scorer in the AHL to just keep that rotation steady of it's this vet's turn to sit it out? Watson never altered his plan, and I was so impressed by that.
Yeah, and especially now with the addition of just a multitude of players. We got Jesse Kiskinen and Dylan James and Keenan Draper and Stakoviak and Milne and Johans, all these guys coming in, just this huge list. You got to have game time. Prospects got to play games. Veterans are going to get annoyed if they're not playing games. So, yeah, the rotation has been important, and being able to get these guys in and out of the lineup. I mean, players that they're really working on have found ways to stay in. You look at Valinder and Alex Kannok-Leipert. A lot of these guys have 60-plus games. They found ways to stay in the lineup. And, yeah, those are the guys you're looking for, to kind of fulfill the role throughout the season as day in, day outers.
Oh, yeah. And I'm so glad you brought up Stakoviak, because when I checked his record, I knew nothing about the player. I knew he played for Germany, just knew nothing about that trade. He comes in, he hadn't scored in 10 straight games. And now I think 5 of his 10 games, I just did a thing on this, 5 of his 10 games are multi-point, with 3 3-point games since he came in. And he has 4 goals and 11 assists in 10 games. And he's now at center. Detroit has such a problem up the middle in the NHL. Stakoviak is a really good centerman right now. I was just, the last game, it seemed like Bob Kaiser was like, okay, he just created another opportunity with a face-off. And I never saw this guy coming, but what an ad.
Yeah, we brought over Michael Milne and Wojciech Stakoviak for Ian Mitchell at the deadline. And, yeah, holy crap. I mean, Stakoviak was injured for the first couple games. We had no idea what we were going to get when he stepped foot on the ice. But the guy he's not a small guy. He skates hard and fast, and he's just always making a play. I think Kaiser said the other day, he's like, oh, he finally made a mistake. He missed a pass for the first time. Like, holy crap, he's been 15 games into the Griffins, and he finally missed a pass. Holy crap.
And that's where I got to credit. The scouting for the Griffins has been so good, because I didn't really know much about John Leonard until this year. They brought him in. What an impact. And they were watching Stakoviak during the Olympics. And again, someone who wasn't on my radar at all. The management of what they're doing in Grand Rapids, and the scouting and the signings have been so good. We'll talk in a little bit about the goaltending, but Postava, I almost have him as the guy I would start the playoffs with, kind of, and that's a guy I knew nothing about before this year.
Yeah, I mean, especially if we play against Milwaukee, because he's shut out Milwaukee all 3 games he's played them this year.
Oh my gosh, he's finally sitting at the top of the rankings because he just didn't have enough games played. But
the qualified or unqualified nonsense.
Yeah, I think he's like 171 right now, and 93. His numbers are a little ridiculous even after 20 games played. 26.
He's proven games played, number of minutes or not. I mean, he's proven that he's an elite goaltender in this league, and I mean, the defense, having Gustafson and a lot of these veterans down here for the season, it's been nice. But now, I mean, it's really going to be time to test those goalies when all these prospects are kind of starting to take over, a little leaning on those players that are supposed to step up for the Griffins now, like Tuomisto and Valinder, and just like Shai Buyum as well. And yeah, seeing if those goalies can kind of continue to seal the crease with now that those other veterans are gone with Mitchell and Hall. And yeah, I think it's Postava has clearly shown that even in scrambles and all sorts of crazy situations, he's going to be making that save. So
yeah, he currently leads the league in goals against average with a 1.71 and save percentage with a 0.937. So, and then he has a 17-6-0 record. So, absolutely amazing.
Fourth shutout of the season is a new record for Grand Rapids rookies.
Yes.
And that game, since it's 8-0, I wasn't really paying attention. I hate to say that, but when you score 8 goals, you're like, oh, we had a goalie in that. But he made like 6 straight saves early on that were just where he was like laying down and scrambling.
Yeah.
It was legitimately just unreal to watch him go. And yeah, I would have no problem starting the playoffs with him in net, especially
no problem.
I believe he started Wednesday in Iowa as well, and also just another great performance. And I think for the first half of the season, me and Connor kind of talked about this. There wasn't a game that he played that he had under 90% save percentage, and it's just like the dude has absolutely outperformed what we thought he would this year, and he has absolutely given Kosa that challenge on the 1A spot.
Yeah, and then you got Augustine coming right up the pipeline, right behind both of them. Like, here I am.
1C. Do we dare say 1C?
Yeah, I mean, and what we're going to be talking about, and this is starting to get into the comments of my videos a lot, because Gielander, remember, so Postava gets hurt,
about
and Kosa gets hurt. So we lost both starting goalies within a day. And I was like, well, there goes the win streak. But then Carter Gielander comes up, and he's lights out. And at one point, they were playing him in Grand Rapids, then sending him back to Toledo to play, and then bringing him back up. They didn't give him any nights off between the 2 leagues. So now we've got these 4 goalies. We've got another goalie coming out of the USHL. I can never remember his name.
Rudy Geidman.
Yes. Yeah. So you've got now 5. And what people keep bringing up is, so it was rumored that St. Louis, when we were negotiating to try to get Thomas, which I've heard no one's going to get him. He's not going to approve any deal. He shut down the Buffalo trade. But the rumor is part of the ask from St. Louis was either Augustine or Kosa. So teams may start asking about some of these goalies, and with the depth, you don't know if they could be part of a major deal, someone, down the line. I don't like to think in those terms because I love watching these guys, but it is ridiculous how deep the net looks right now.
Yeah, you got to find who your number 1 is, and there can't be any question about it. And honestly, like you're saying, it's almost better to make a trade for, like, a goalie is very valuable. It's not something you find every day.
No,
you can trade. You can get a good pick for that, or a good player with a pick or something.
Well, and that's the trick of drafting, right? Kosa was a first-round pick, and he had to figure out his game. Augustine's a second round pick. Now he hasn't been out, he's been just NCAA, but even for Team USA on the international stage, Augustine's been lighting up.
Amazing.
Then Pastova's undrafted. If someone brought this to my attention, he had a 950 save percentage in the Czech league last. I didn't know that. I'm like, those are video game numbers.
Yep.
So this guy we never heard of. How did Detroit even get him? If you have a Czech goalie, 24 years old, with a 950 save percentage, how did they get him and not somebody else? Because that's incredible.
Yeah, that is wild
It's like
to
a
think about it like that. And
Diamond in the rough.
yeah,
Literally.
exactly. And for him to come over and show that he can do it here, it just goes to show that they really got a high quality scouting room up there. I mean, even Edwards Traumax. I mean, look at what they brought in, the Olympian from Latvia, yeah, and just kind of huge performance by him all season long, and looks like we might even lose him next year because he didn't get any NHL time this year, which would be unfortunate.
That would stink. It just hit me. There are now 2 Griffins who spent time at the Olympics, because we got Stachowiak, who had been with Syracuse at the time, but he played for Germany. Traumarks played. So you have 2 guys on the Griffins who played in the Olympics. That's kind of big. I mean, for an AHL team, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and they've absolutely played like it. I mean, we've seen it from Stachowiak, and yeah, Traumax has been one of our elite goal scorers this season too. So, and he especially in those times where Shine and Leonard and Dries were all up, Traumax really took over. So,
oh yeah, and it's like effortless when he scores. You just sometimes like the call of the goal scoring is a second behind. It's so fast. Really, really good.
Oh yeah, a lot of great points about the goalies there. I mean, Postava, Kosa, Augustine, Geilander, and like you said, Guyman even in the room. Just all of that it's a lot to take in. If you're the organization, like you said, do you outlet somebody for a more needed position? I mean, what do you look for in the draft now? Do you look for a trade in the draft? I mean, there's definitely some options here, but we got the playoffs in Grand Rapids to figure all that out. So hopefully it's a good matchup.
Well, they've got 2 of the top 5 goalies in the AHL as their tandem. Like the best goaltending all year has been kind of Providence, Wilkes-Barre, the Penguins, and Grand Rapids. So you've got out east, you don't have near the goaltending you have out west, and the Griffins have 2 of the top 5 as their tandem to go to. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, very. It's not something you see like ever.
No, right? That is pretty legitimately crazy. You've got number 1 with Postava, and I think Coast is now number 6 in saves and number 4 in goals against.
Yeah, and I know the Providence Bruins are not far off with, I believe, DiPietro and Zagacek. Those guys are right behind them, and then
Mishakov on
Murashov on the Penguins is down there as well. So they're great goaltenders. They've had NHL time this year. You gotta wonder what the next year goaltending room looks like for Detroit with Talbot and Gibson. Obviously, Gibson proved that he's probably the number 1, and Talbot really struggled as of late. So
I think Talbot's moving on. I think his contract is up, and they made it so clear that they weren't even going to use him when they were out of the playoff picture. So, and I think Kosa's out of options. So Kosa would have to go on waivers. So I think you're kind of forced into Gibson, Kosa, which is great for Kosa. But I'm also looking at, Augustine's going to, Postava and Augustine are going to go into camp. And this is what I love about this Griffins team. They are hungry to compete in a way that we used to see with Mrazek. When Mrazek would come to camp, he was trying to take Jimmy Howard's job. I think you're going to have that kind of ferocity of these young players who want to battle and say, if I can jump ahead in line, I'm going to try to do it.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, and Kosa's kind of had those late season struggles. I mean, all the other goalies can look at that and take that as like all right, I'm going to perform extra well at the end of the season, and maybe
Well,
I can squeeze
that's it.
right in there.
Kosa was really at that number one spot for a long time in the season, and Pastava got hurt. He got shelved. He's been limited to 25, 26 games. I think 23 officially, but I think he was in a couple others where he didn't register it. But if he hadn't been limited to that few of games, I wonder the season. But I really think too, Augustine is a ferocious competitor. He's not looking at the summer of I'm just gonna, just settle for
GR.
Yeah, they're gonna fight for a spot, and legitimately, you could easily have three goalies in Detroit at one point, just depending on injuries and stuff. So,
Right.
it's gonna be fun to watch.
The fans always get really anxious when the Red Wings are carrying 3 goalies. It's funny.
and that being said, Sebastian Kosa did play 38 games. So that's more than anyone else, and that workload wears on you,
Yep.
No one like Pastava hasn't faced that workload, so we can't really. He might have those struggles too. Augustine might too. I mean, 38 games is a lot.
Yeah, and for Kosa to be where he's at still, he put together a career year the year he needed to do it. He knows, that the clock has gone to where it's gone, and that he's at a place where he has to perform. You don't want to put him on waivers. That's not really an option. There's no way he's,
absolutely not.
Up.
Immediately taken.
I'm really impressed. He stepped up. He really tried to take out what they called the peaks and valleys in his games, where he'd have a great game and then a bad game last year. This year, he's been much more consistent. It's been a tougher slide recently, but it's the grind of the year too. He's still a top 5 goalie in the AHL after a long season where, it's this in a 72 game season, he played 38 games. That's a tough load.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, we didn't get to see Pastava kind of get that workload as well as like a 50-50. But because he did get injured, we also found out that Geilander is tried and true now as well. So, a little bit of sugar on that, a little sugar coating to that. So,
it's very bright in goal. And I love it because someone's going to have to beat someone out. No one's going to be handed anything. They're going to have to win the battle. And that makes for a great situation.
Yep. The red versus white game next year is going to be fierce. Let's just say that.
Baby. Those are my favorite too. They did it in Grand Rapids this last year.
It was again game too. It was fun. I mean, the whole thing, the shootout was great, and just seeing all the players kind of getting a chance to go out and put them in on the net. But yeah, it was fun to watch.
So, do you guys want to talk about the playoffs a little bit, the Griffins playoffs?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah, obviously in the Central Division, there's 7 teams, and obviously the 5 top teams make the playoffs. The last 2 do not. And it's pretty much locked in as we are right now. Griffins in first place, Wolves in second place, Texas Stars in third place, and then you got the Manitoba Moose in fourth place, and the Milwaukee Admirals in fifth place. The first round will be a play-in round. The Griffins will get a bye, and the Wolves and Stars will get a bye, the top 3 teams. The fifth place and fourth place team will play a best 2 out of 3 series. And the winner of that will play the Griffins. And then, we'll play the winner of the Moose and the Milwaukee. So, hopefully we get the Moose.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page here. We're hoping we get the Moose. We just have a better record against the Moose. And Milwaukee is such a physical team that, you always risk losing players in those matchups. It's crazy.
You do, and there's another side to the Milwaukee issue. First, they get an NHL influx at the end of the year because Nashville doesn't make the playoffs. They kept that team alive by having the top special teams in the AHL. So when they were really struggling, they really shouldn't have been in it. They managed to stay alive, and now they're getting better. They won 3 of the last 4 against Grand Rapids, all by 5-2. The games are super physical. There's legitimate beef between Grand Rapids and pretty much
Yes.
every team in the postseason. The Wolves games have been a nightmare to watch. Thankfully, you don't have to deal with Rockford because those are nightmare to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Milwaukee and Rockford are both leading the AHL in penalty minutes, and it just goes to show you can see it in those matchups. They are just
Vicious.
just ruthless.
And Milwaukee blew us out 2 years ago. They knocked Grand Rapids out of the playoffs. So I want to see Manitoba, but my gut feels like we're probably going to be with Milwaukee. You're going to see that stupid pirate ship on the ice during all the intermissions out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I joked about that, but there's not an easy round for Grand Rapids physically, because then you're going to face whoever wins between Chicago and the
Texas.
Stars, or Chicago and
The Stars, Texas
Stars. Yeah, Texas. Yep. And you have beef with the Stars from last year in the playoffs. Yep. Chicago, you always have issues with.
That's like our biggest rival.
Right. And every game is a 1-point game. So this is going to be a tougher postseason than you would think, but I really feel like we could be seeing Grand Rapids and Providence in the Calder Cup finals, and that'll be a goalie showdown. Just incredible.
And I believe there was like a stat about top ranked teams, like the top seeded teams on both sides of the playoffs, like haven't really met each other too much at the end. So I agree with you, being that like the goalie rooms are so good on both sides. I think both Providence and Grand Rapids have solid chances to shoot all the way up to the top. But there's just some other teams like Laval and some teams just might slide in there and give everyone
Checkers coming back up.
Charlotte they had those stretches where Grand Rapids hadn't been shut out until they faced Charlotte. And I was watching those games because the Griffins were out shooting the Checkers almost 2-1, but their goaltending and then the physicality of, you got Brindamore down there. And
young Brindamore.
And
young Slavin too.
And they're nightmares to play against. I give it to Charlotte. Physically and defensively, they just close in on you and make life miserable. But the goalie, who was a Michigan native too, he was from like Iron Mountain, Michigan, in net for Charlotte, and he shut them out. And the Griffins hadn't been shut out yet that year. So there are so
Black was his last name.
Yeah, and big kid, real tall kid, and I look at all the matchups, and there are really no soft matchups ahead. That's
how the playoffs should be, right?
It should be, yeah. You don't want that team that just squeezed in there. Although Manitoba, I think, would be the closest thing to a soft matchup they could have.
Yeah, we've had our best matchups against that team, and it has shown. I feel like a good quick matchup with them would line us up, but you never know. Sometimes those hard-earned early round wins are what drives the team to the final. So if we did line up with Milwaukee and we did go head-to-head with them, sometimes that provides your team with that, well, we took them on. The next team is even easier.
Well, and again, the room is so good with Dominic Shine in there. The play-in round actually makes me nervous because you get a buy-in, you're like, okay, great, you're rested. But the team that comes out of that play-in round, they're now in playoff shape and ready to go. So I'm really looking to the leaders to show the young guys, okay, this is the difference. As hard as you thought the season already was, it starts all over. You've got nothing. You haven't set any records. You haven't won any games. And I really look to those veterans to push the tempo and set the table for how this is going to go.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Dan Watson kind of rotates these high amount of prospects and kids that have been signed, and then the veterans that have kind of made their way through the season. I know he kind of said himself that there's a lot of guys on this team that deserve to be in the lineup during this playoff matchups. And if these kids want to kind of come in, they're going to have to earn it. So it was kind of good to hear that from Watson. I'm just kind of curious how this rotation is going to go with just the wide range of talent he has to pick from right now.
Well, and I do think it's a different scenario. So, and this is the NHL, but if you remember Tyler Seguin, he gets drafted by the Bruins and they win the cup. He didn't play for the first round. Like Mark Recchi was pulling him aside saying, you're going to get your turn, but you need to wait and watch. And I look at this too with these young guys. They have although Brandon Nygaard got in some games and actually thrived in games last year, but it's so different. The veterans, they come to life in the playoffs. It's almost like they get younger legs. And the young guys are still figuring it out. Well, ASP had a couple games. He had the same amount of games as Brandon Nygaard. But I do look at like Gustafson and Dries and Shine and Leonard and Stahoviak. I look at those guys to lead the way. And I would expect young guys to be sitting and watching, and injuries will open the way. You know, especially if you have a deep run, it's good to have such a full bench.
Yeah, there's almost about 30 players in like 18-man roster that we can choose from. So I think we're pretty stacked as far as that goes. And I'm just interested to see what kind of guys are going to get sent down to Toledo for a ECHL run.
You know, I didn't even think about that. You're right. There's kind of that trickle down of, you know, you still want these guys skating as much as possible and getting that experience.
And I could see these NCAA players like Dylan James and Keenan Draper sliding, even Trey Augustine sliding over to Toledo to assist them. And there's plenty of NCAA players that are already in Toledo system, so kind of join the ranks there. And it'd just be interesting to see how Toledo does with those players after that.
Oh yeah, that's another great franchise. Grand Rapids and Toledo both have like sellout records.
Really good. I think Toledo is even way ahead of Grand Rapids. That organization is diehard.
Yeah.
I saw Luke Glendenning play down there. So because he gets out of U of M, he's not drafted. He does a walk on to Toledo, then a walk on to the AHL. Good hockey in Toledo, and the fan base is crazy. They love it.
Yep. Yeah, I watched Luke Glendenning knock us out of the playoffs the other day too. That was hard to watch.
And on a backhand.
Yeah, on a backhand too. Holy crap. Yeah.
You get a right-handed centerman and he'll never shoot it on the forehand.
Well, I mean, we're going here at 38 minutes. Is there anything else that you kind of want to bring up and talk about?
Well, so there's such a diverse path here. So my focus was always Red Wings, and the Griffins were this great thing I got to add. And I'm a huge enthusiast into it, but it's oftentimes through the lens of how does it affect Detroit? Because Grand Rapids right now, the best thing about Detroit's season right now is Grand Rapids. And that's a tough thing to say, because even though the Red Wings had their best season in a decade, they still didn't make the playoffs. They get 92 points, which in the last 3 seasons, 92 points would have gotten you into the playoffs. Last year and the 2 years before, they would have gotten in with the performance this year. But this year, it's the highest point total, I think, since 2019 to get in.
Crazy. Yep.
And that's so no one wants to talk about the things that got better or the incremental improvements, because right now and that's the other difference with NHL fans is like AHL fans are so passionate about every part of the game. NHL is about winning, and the fan base is about winning. And that's what everyone's going to talk about. And even the players, their exit interviews were really not fun to watch.
Really hard to watch. I agree.
So in relation to what we're seeing in Grand Rapids, that organization completely changed Detroit's season, where you had 4 rookies make their debut this year for Detroit. Sandin Pellikka, Brandon Nygaard, Emmett Finney, Nate Danielson. They all played and burned the first year of their entry-level deal playing for Detroit. So Grand Rapids is going to have a huge impact on what happens over the summer, because they are looking at these guys battling for spots.
Yep.
And we don't know what Eddie Genborg is still just a kid. And you would immediately think, okay, he's going to be, in the AHL. But Emmett Finney came in at the end of last year, and I knew nothing about him really. He plays the entire season in Detroit because of what he got done in camp.
Mhm.
So I think we're looking at this roster right now, and I think the front office is kind of scouting it, because I think some veterans are going to move on. Guys are going to retire. You want to get a free agent, but you're also going to look for who internally is going to make that team better. So this is an audition right now for all the guys in Grand Rapids. And then training camp, it's a shortened preseason next year. I think it's only like 3 or 4 preseason games next year. So you don't have that big window to audition. So this is a very, very critical juncture. Grand Rapids is going to determine so much more for Detroit in the next years by what we've seen, by them letting guys take jobs. So
Yeah, and the longer this playoff run can go, the more looks we can get at some of these prospects and what they're going to mean to the future of this team, and more they can create that name for themselves as we go. And, time to build a name for themselves is starting now. So if they want to slide their way onto that roster, they better start performing now. And it just leaves big questions for players like Casper, who had a huge sophomore slump this year. And, a guy that's should be putting up more points than he did this year. You got to wonder what he means to the team next year. Does he kind of come back, figure things out, and just kind of creates a whole nother down the middle center depth kind of thing. So
I just did his numbers. I did a video on Marco Casper, and I based it on that old 80s song, Baby Come Back. So right? So Casper, in the final 42 games last year, scored 17 goals and 13 assists, 30 points from January 10th to April, I think, 17th in that time frame. So going into the summer, everyone thought he's your number 2 centerman. He comes back, and in the month of October, Casper has 3 goals, no assists. No points scored in the month of November, and 2 assists in the month of December. 5 points in his first 40 games. And that was a shell shock. This was a guy who, once I did those numbers, because I knew it was bad. It was like going to the dentist when you haven't been in a while. You really don't want to know how bad. And I'm looking at his numbers going, 5 points in 3 months. Yeah. Oh no. He went from getting 16 minutes and 40 seconds when they started the season to 12:25 by December.
Yeah, and me looking at it, was I was telling everyone, oh no, he's come to Grand Rapids. He was slow at first, and then he heated up at the end of the season. But no, he did not heat up.
So that was the other thing. It was okay, maybe he's a second half player, because those guys do exist. That for whatever reason, after winter break, they take off. So my assessment of Casper last year was, we've got a number 2 centerman. My assessment this year is, I think he could be a top 6 winger. I don't think he's a top 6 centerman. I think he'd be a bottom 6 centerman or a top 6 winger. But now up the middle, it's nothing but question marks, because Andrew Kopp has got 1 year left. And I think on a deeper team, Kopp is a 3rd line center. Larkin, I keep saying this, I think he's your only top 6 center in Detroit right now. And he gets hurt, and he got hurt March 6th. And after Larkin got hurt, the team's record went upside down. And that's what happened last year for the 4 Nations. So Larkin getting injured, you have no top 6 centerman, and then they lost Kopp. So
and honestly, I don't necessarily think Nate Danielson's your answer either.
He's a bottom.
Yeah.
So I was asking guys.
Bottom 6, the bottom.
Yeah, he's
Bottom 9.
the guys who write for other teams in the league so especially one of the writers for Calgary. He and I would talk a lot about trades because Detroit was scouting Calgary. And he said, we look at Nate Danielson as a third line center when he makes it. And then I started to hear that from other guys that the way the league views Nate Danielson is a third line center. Here, you love his skill set, you love what he can do, but points wise, Lombardi blows him away in point production or goal production, especially.
Hazer also.
And right. So it's if Lombardi could stay healthy, he's missed a combined over 50 games the last 2 years. If Lombardi could stay healthy, I think he's in the bottom 6 in Detroit next year. But we do not.
And I know Lombardi's worked hard over the last couple of years on his faceoffs. I know he kind of started as like a wing. They were sliding him in. He wasn't taking as many, but this year especially, he's stepped in and he's kind of been like the 2C behind Sheldon Dreiss. And when Sheldon Dreiss was up, he was many nights the 1C, and then with Nate Danielson gone, he's just kind of been taking over. And now that Nate Danielson's injury has been a little weird. They expected him back a while ago, and he's just hasn't touched the ice for a minute now. And
do you have any update? Because I haven't heard anything.
Kaiser just keeps saying the same thing over on the broadcast, and it's just kind of like he's just struggling with this kind of re-aggravated injury. So,
and how many guys have we? And this is the one thing I did want to touch on. Injuries have derailed Lombardi, Danielson, Major, and Boyum. Shai Boyum is the best defensive guy in the pipeline. I put him above Wallander and Tuomisto, just his overall game. And in the preseason, like that back-to-back against Texas, Boyum was scoring goals. He was all over the ice. Gets hurt in the preseason, but he had
training camp. He was amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. And the left side in Detroit is soft. The right side is really full. Like you're going to have trouble squeezing in a right shot defender. But Boyum, I thought he could legitimately be your third line lefty. I even put his game slightly above Johansson, both Johanssons, but like his skating and his reach. But again, it's staying healthy. These guys it is so hard. It's what we dealt with Svechnikov for years. That they're so promising, but the injury bug keeps hitting, and you hope they can get past it.
Yeah, with Boyum, he definitely had a really slow start when he came back from injury. It was right during when the Griffins came back to earth and started to lose some games, and he was like -8 in like the first couple, like the first 4 games, and then it was instantly he kind of caught on, got back into the picture, caught on with the chemistry of this winning cultured team. And now he looks like he's getting that power play time, penalty kill time, just like eating minutes on the ice type stuff. And you notice Shai Boyum a lot now. So I'm glad to see him, like you said, injuries matter. They take half your season away, and then you got to recover and play those games to get back in game shape. So,
and you lost one more year to make an impact in your pro career. That's the toughest part.
Yep. And there's other guys coming. Anton Johansson's right on his heels. People are saying he's the top rated defenseman in Grand Rapids.
I really personally like Anton Johansson.
Yep.
Especially like you said, with his scoring improving. He's looking really good.
Well, physically, there's no one else like him. Like Tuomisto was your most physical righty outside of Sider, obviously, but Anton Johansson. So I can never remember. So the other Johansson, you have 2 Johanssons whose first names start with A.
Albert and Anton.
Albert Johansson. I put Boyum above Albert Johansson, but Anton Johansson, but his problem is he's a right shot. If Anton Johansson was a left shot and he's as physical as he is now, because he is your top defensive prospect, it's just that he's on the right side, but he is, when he did another year of Sweden, I was hoping he'd stay here, but my goodness, when he turns on the Jets, he's a problem for people. Really, really good.
Yeah, and we can't forget about Tuomisto. He actually has quietly put on an incredible season for Grand Rapids this year. And I know he's on a Grand Rapids contract now, so it'd be up
He's
to
a
Detroit
Schedule
to
6
kind of sign him
UFA.
again.
I
So
didn't
he-
even know this existed, but he's going to be a UFA this summer because he didn't play 80 games in the first 3 years of his ELC. So they need to re-sign him, or he'll hit as an ELC or as a UFA.
Okay, gotcha.
I didn't know that until
Oh.
last week.
So yeah, Tuomisto is a guy I would really not want to lose right now.
He's led the Griffins last year in points, and he was leading the Griffins for a while for defensemen.
he's
Not
almost like an
just
assistant
defenseman.
captain at this point.
He is. The only criticism they had was his skating at the NHL level.
Yeah, he's not the fastest guy for
No.
sure. He's just a little bit flat-footed, and especially on those speed races with some of these high-speed teams like Rockford when they had Nazer. I mean, you saw it bad, and it was kind of he seems to kind of found a way to, like, fundamentally he's always in position, it seems like, and it just kind of he doesn't put himself in situations where he has to race guys anymore. He
Right.
seems to kind of figured that aspect out, and he's playing more like a veteran now. He's not just a prospect anymore. He actually looks like a guy that's been around and can handle AHL status regularly.
He does, and I think it's just that final leap to the NHL where you have to gap up, because if you don't have the speed and you're not in position in the NHL, it'll burn you so much differently. But Bob Kaiser said that scouts are asking about Tuomisto quite a bit now. So he's turned this season into something where Detroit's going to have to make a decision, because people are asking, and unfortunately there's such a logjam on the right side in Detroit that you don't want to lose that guy, but he may have a bigger opportunity. I hate to, man, it makes me sick to even say it, but there may be a bigger opportunity with another organization just
Right.
because of how packed the right side is here right now.
And there's just more coming.
Yeah, I got a question on Twitter about Wojciech Stachowiak too. They're like, "Do you think we sign him next year?" And my thoughts were, if he doesn't have better opportunities, I think if he doesn't have anywhere else to compete for the NHL, yeah, he'll stay here. But there's someone else with an NHL opportunity, he's gone.
And that's the thing, you can't. So Dominic Schein, we talked about this. He talked about almost retiring a year or two ago, because that dream, you have this narrow window. It's such a small window, especially once you're 25, 26, 27. The odds of making it after that just get slimmer and slimmer. Stachowiak, I do think they brought him in with intent. He worked with Seider in Germany, and all of a sudden we're seeing this centerman that, okay, if they jettison Comfer this summer, if they found, bought him out or found someone with a really nice bag of pucks that you could get rid of for $5 million. So I'm such a jerk. So Stachowiak could Rasmussen here, you got Mike, just go with JT. It'll be all right.
Just back him out.
just move on. But Stachowiak, he could really be that, that Darren Helm type, Luke Glendening type bottom six centerman in the NHL. He's going to get you face-offs. He's going to maybe chip in some points, but something about him really came alive. So I do hope that they make that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I-
you're right about that. Something
agree.
about him did come alive. He got here to Grand Rapids, and he has just exploded on the scoreboard. And yeah, I could totally see him being that. He's a great skater. He could definitely skate the NHL talent. He's physical. He's got size. He could win those face-offs. And yeah, it's definitely looking like a guy that we could use in this organization. And with the loss of Traumax potentially next year, I mean that's kind of a whole nother deal.
Leonard, what's Leonard's? Because Leonard produced at the NHL level, and they brought him up.
Yeah, so I mean that all being said, John Leonard, Sheldon Dries, and Dominic Shine have all extended for at least another year. So that would
Awesome.
So Stakoviak would be a pretty good addition to that veteran core.
I agree.
That's, you know what, that would be such a great. Oh, that is a great core. You're right.
That's
I'm worried they're going to lose Dan Watson. Honestly, like,
yeah.
scouting him.
I hope that the Grand Rapids Griffins can hold on to Dan Watson until the Red Wings are ready for him.
He is. I would love to see him part of the staff at first, and especially what he gets Grand Rapids to commit to defensively. I think that, man, it would be good to see him get an opportunity to work with McClellan. I really like Dan Watson. I do not want to see him. I get a lot of people asking if Watson's being scouted and Sean Horkoff as a GM, because he's quietly done very, very well with Grand Rapids.
Yes.
Very, very well.
So good. So they changed the whole culture. Them and Yuri Fisher, they're so fundamentally focused on physical fitness and diet that, like, I was there at the training camp when Yuri Fisher came in and he got rid of all the food. Like, they used to get these great bagels and stuff in Traverse City. Yuri Fisher said, that's garbage. Get it out of here. And he put out all this fruit and crap, like got all the good stuff out of there and put in like whole grain bread and fruit and yogurt. And like ruined everybody's day. But Yuri Fisher learned the hard way about, conditioning for health, and Sean Horkoff is a health freak. Like,
yeah,
him and Draper both can still run those gauntlets, at the workout facilities. So
that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, their scouting department's been incredible too. I mean, last year they pick up Jacob Truscott, captain of University of Michigan. This year we're picking up Justin Christensen, captain of the Prince Albert Raiders over in the WHL. I mean, just these kids that maybe slid through the draft unnoticed and are kind of performing now that they're not on the draft board. Yeah, sign them as a free agent, give them a chance here in Grand Rapids, see what they can do. And Horkoff's been great about that.
He has. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're reaching about an hour now. Is there anything else you'd want to talk about, man?
Well, I mean, first, thank you guys. I have so much fun talking about hockey, and you do so much of this in a vacuum. Like YouTube, I get up in the morning, I type up all my notes, and then talk to my tablet. Not a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But balancing it, just guys, you guys are so integrated into Grand Rapids. You've been around them, for so long, and the culture is so good over there. I'm really hoping that it has the impact on Detroit, because the things Detroit is lacking, we talk about the grit and the commitment and the heart, all of that is really present in Grand Rapids. So this is so much fun for me, to hang out with you guys and talk about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype, and it's just in time for this playoffs. It seems like Grand Rapids is firing on all cylinders again, like putting that 8-goal victory, shutout victory against Milwaukee, just getting us all excited, ready to go. Let's do this. And then we gotta wait a week for the playoffs. So we're gonna be waiting anxiously.
Right, today at 3 is the last game of the season, and
yep.
In that 8-0 shutout was their largest shutout in franchise history
ever.
Yep. 2011. Yep. Yeah, it's ever. How many records did they set this year? Best record for 50 games.
We just got the best road record.
Yeah.
Road wins in history.
Yep, 27 road wins, I think.
Could make it 28 tonight.
Oh, and John Leonard. So if John Leonard scores a hat trick today, which isn't out of the question, but if he scored a hat trick, he'll match his goal total from last year, having played 24 fewer games. And last year was a career year. Yeah, right. He's just second crazy. In AHL in scoring, and he's only played like 47 games.
Jeez.
That's unreal. What a gift he's been. So there's There's a lot I'm looking at for the game today because I want to see them close out. But yeah, Leonard hat trick would be kind of special for sure.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, no, that being said, man, thank you very much too for coming on. It's awesome, like talking to someone else. We're always talking teams in the division. We talk to a bunch of people like that, but it's always best when we talk to Red Wings fans.
So
it's
easy.
Like the same team, and the same passion, and also the fact that you're into guitars is really cool too. That's awesome.
I love it. We'll talk more about that offline, but yeah, I'm a little freaked out that you're actually a luthier, that you actually that's really cool to me. So that's very cool.
Heck yeah, man.
Well, you want to shout yourself out one more time? Give us the socials, promotions, anything you got left.
Absolutely. So the biggest thing, the Red Wings report by Strings and Pucks. I do something called the 7-minute wings, just these 7-minute nuggets. I try to do highlight reels from the Griffins games. I put some music to it. And, just come. It's a place to hang out. I try not to take myself too seriously anymore. Just have a good time. And then on X, you'll see the emblem. I'm just at the Jeremy Laura, and love talking hockey and guitars. Gitaki, all good.
Gitaki. I love that, man.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again, Jeremy. It was our pleasure to have you on.
It's great to be here. Thank you, guys.
Well, it was great having Jeremy Laura on. It was a really fun interview. Definitely really cool that he's into guitars also, because me and Kyle are very passionate about guitars. And it's always fun talking to someone else who's a Griffins and Red Wings freak as ourselves. So, all right, we'll move on to our final segment of the episode. We'll move on to the penalty box. So this segment, we like to step out of hockey and the episode on a fun note, and we like to throw the biggest idiot of the week into the penalty box for a 2-minute minor, 4-minute double minor, 5-minute major, or a game misconduct. Kyle, who are you throwing into the penalty box?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the plan is for Acrisure Arena, the new big stadium they've put in with all the concerts, and now there's the Stocker Stadium going in, and where is everyone going to park? We have almost limited parking space with just the Grand Rapids Griffins event going on, and maybe a concert across the street at GLC Live. So it's like, where are people going to park when there's a Griffins game, a football game? There's going to be a lot going on, a big time concert at Acrisure, and
the Bob also has a concert.
The amphitheater, the amp, everyone's calling it already. Yeah, I mean, where are we going to park, and how much is it going to cost?
Yeah, I've noticed from recent years, I think it was 12, then 16, and then all of a sudden it was like 25. Whoa, what is this jump? And the attendants are like, oh, it's because there's a concert going on at the Bob also. So now we're not only going to have a concert at the Bob, we're going to have a concert at the amphitheater. We're going to have a soccer game going on also. And it's just going to really be insane.
So I feel like until they figure it all out, maybe we need a new parking ramp around that side of town over by Founder somewhere. I don't know where it's going to fit, what that's going to look like, but, people are going to be lime scootering all the way across from Studio Park, and there's going to be lime scooters littering the street right in front of the arena now. So we'll figure that out.
There's that parking lot right there, right off Market. They could turn that right into parking. It's like already a parking lot. Turn that into a ramp.
I agree. Put some levels to it. Get some cars there. But yeah, I agree. 2-minute minor until something gets figured out there.
All right. Yeah. So I'm going to throw into the penalty box. I'm going to throw in whoever is in charge of making it so Michael Bustava did not get qualified goalie. It was like 101.440 minutes to qualify, and he got 1.400. So really sad because he would have led the AHL, and that's a really big stat to have. So very disappointing.
Yeah, it would just be nice to load up AHL.com, look at the top goalies in the league, and see Postava number one, and then Costa's right there too. it would have been just kind of nice to see, but instead, DiPietro, who was named as the MVP of the league, rightfully so. The guy's played very well all season for the Providence Bruins, so can't discredit that. But the fact that Postava was limited with that, like just under, like a game time under what was qualified for goalie, is unfortunate.
40 minutes. Yep. So have fun in the box. Yeah. So that should wrap us up for this episode. Come out to the Van Andel Arena on Wednesday, March 6th. And if they win that game, come out the next Friday, March 8th. And then Saturday, if they lose that one, come on out that day and come on for the game 5. That will be insane.
Yeah, and hopefully Griffins can handle business with Manitoba. Catch you on the next episode. Go Griffins.
Go Griffins.
Thank you for listening to the Griffins Pipeline Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, give us a 5-star review. We are part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We are not partnered with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Detroit Red Wings, or Toledo Walleye. We are not experts. We are just die-hard fans looking to make a community with others alike. Let's go Griffins Nation. Join the fun, like and follow us on Facebook and X, or call into the show and have your opinion heard 1-616-319-1175. Thank you. Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and Detroit Red Wings. Players, coaches, websites, and social media. Thank you AHL.com, NHL.com, ETL.com, EliteProspects.com, and anyone else putting out information on the teams. Until next time, go Griffins. Go Red Wings, go Walleye.